more time.
One is the loneliest number.
We're gonna celebrate. Oh, yeah.
Number
One more episode. Why not?
The fans deserve it.
Yeah.
Back by popular demand.
I've been without content for so long. I could play the recording that my son made at the
Mudry 2020.
Mudry 2020.
I'm thinking there's some scandal that's going to be coming.
Follow him to the ends of the earth, I would.
Mudry 2020. So our artist, we did our last episode we did on how Freemasonry could improve current politics of the world. So I had our artiste go out and actually make campaign pictures on our Facebook.
And we did a really good job, too.
Did Mudry 2020. It's pretty funny.
Scary good.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's going to have to be the official campaign artist.
Yeah. Well, I've already basically
Publicist. It's not too late. I mean, we're starting one campaign after another. We can't even complete one that we start, and now you're running for president. Sorry, guys. Here, handle the move campaign.
Joseph Schultz says the bitching was unbearable. Well, then you ain't gonna like this one either.
Nope.
Because we're gonna be doing some bitching up here. Not necessarily bitching, but
It'd be funny if
Storytelling.
Peter Daigle could put together a little thing of Puppet George and the dude from I'm Just a Bill. Remember on the weekend special stuff that I'm Just a Bill.
Yeah. The old, like the civics lesson. The civics
Schoolhouse
cartoon.
Rock.
Yeah, the
Schoolhouse
word.
Rock.
Yep.
old.
I remember it. I mean, I saw it on rerun, probably. But
I repeat,
I know what he's
You don't
talking
remember
about.
Schoolhouse Rock?
old.
Jackass.
I mean, they played it in school. I'm sure it was an original in the 1980s, early 90s when I was in school. But I remember seeing it.
When God said, "Let there be light," Joe handed him the match.
You're lucky your kids are here.
I'm surprised he knows how
I
to
bring
use the
them in. I
effects
give them
processor.
popcorn. Make the kid keep his shirt on.
I don't know what
Ice
he's
box.
doing.
Treats
I don't
in
know
the
what the
corner.
hell he
Started doing the floss in the other room with his shirt half up.
I'm trying to look at Marty. I see it behind him. Like, lifting up his shirt. Like, what the hell? I can't even look at him.
All right. Let's do another episode. This one is going to be on the Master's Word. We just got finished our last episode, so we're going to send out a two-parter right here. What we didn't cover was Washington's Rules of Civility for Freemasons and in Lodge. And this is a book about Freemasons, Washington's Rules for Freemasons' life in the Lodge, and it's just different things pulled out that pertain to Masons off of the Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior book that he wrote a long time ago. Something politicians should have read. But the next one we have is actually After Lodge. So we now passed the etiquette in Lodge, and this is now After Lodge. And Washington says, number 105, be not angry at the table, whatever happens. And if you have a reason to be so, show it not. Put on a cheerful countenance, especially if there be strangers, for good humor makes one dish of meat a feast. What did I say wrong?
Nothing. I just smiled at Marty because he's a guest. I put in a cheerful countenance for him. That's all.
So who are you angry at then?
I'm not angry at anyone.
Well, Washington's basically saying if you're pissed off at dinner, don't show it to
Yes,
anybody.
don't show it. Keep the feelings buried deep down inside, and
Go home and
smile
piss and moan in your car on the way home.
That's not psychologically
I'm not that
healthy.
good at that. I like to just get it out at the table.
Yeah, it is better for you that way. But it
You just
doesn't
don't want to
work
be the
if
guy
you're trying
sitting there
to be
eating
civil.
like stabbing the hell out of your food and you're pissed off. But no, good advice though. He says that is to say when dining with others, never show anger, even if you have just cause. Encourage everyone to be happy, most especially strangers, and for a good time, maybe even if the food is poor or sparse.
Sparse.
Whatever. They make fun of my English etiquette as well.
I think Marty might have listened to an episode.
Yeah. The spelling bee one was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
We do have to do another one of those.
They set me up. But this one we're going to be talking about a Mason's word, and I don't mean words as in the ones I can't say or spell. Mason's word. What does it mean? So one of the things that Masons do is we keep our word, especially to each other. So, for instance, like Joe had the farm degree a couple of weeks ago, and he asked me if I would be, a particular part in the degree, and I said, yeah.
He's going to make it about him.
Who? Me or him?
You.
No, I'm giving an example.
I know.
And so Joe had said, hey, can you do this part? And I said, yeah, I'll do that. But, a Mason keeps his word, and what would it make me look like as a person or a Mason if I would have just no called, no showed, and then just been like, yeah, sorry, man, got busy.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where, it used to be a big thing in society in general, where once you gave somebody your word and you shook their hand, it actually meant something. And
Gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, and that's kind of been lost over the years. But in Masonry, that was one of the things that still held true. That was a tradition, just based on our obligation and our oaths to one another. If I give you my word, I'm going to stand by that. And that's one of the things that attracted me to the fraternity. And when somebody takes that and breaks it, not only does it make them look poorly,
right?
And it's unmasonic, it's unbrotherly. But if it happens to you enough, and it happened to me with quite a few people at the farm degree that you just mentioned, it starts to shake your faith in the fraternity. And that's the thing that probably gets me the most, is you're not just no showing and making my work more difficult. You're hitting me at my core. You're taking something that I've put my faith and my belief in, and even if it's just for a small second, you're making me question that.
Right.
And you get over it, you get through it, you realize it doesn't represent the craft as a whole. Right. But it really hits home when somebody breaks their word to you, and you're like, we're supposed to be better than that. Right. We're not the common man. We're not the everyday person. We're not some businessman who may be a little unscrupulous, or the president of the United States who gives you their word and then breaks it. We're Masons.
Right.
That's supposed to mean something, and you feel betrayed. That's probably the best word I can use to describe it. It's a betrayal. But you move on. You try to associate yourself with people that don't do that. But you're betraying yourself. You're betraying another brother. You're betraying the craft.
And every group has them. Every group has them. It doesn't matter if it's Masons or politicians, or it doesn't matter whatever group it is. You're just, it's going to happen from time to time. Masons just make a point to not do it as much, or do it at all if we can't help it. So I've had situations myself where I've been burned a couple times, and not that I held it against them, but I mean, I guess for me, it's like, at what point does it, or should it ever be, a Masonic offense? I mean, you take an oath on the Bible to each other, and you will go out of your way to do certain things, to assist the brethren. So is that, in a sense, a Masonic offense? Opinions?
I think it can be, if there's some type of harm done because of that.
Right.
Yeah. Let's say, for instance, people that were going to come show up and help me clean up the farm and do everything after the degree, and they no-showed, and we had 2 or 3 people. Well, what if somebody got hurt because there weren't enough people there to help out? Maybe something like that. Maybe it's something more egregious than that, where, I don't know, if you take a part in a degree, you say you're going to do it, and you just don't show up, or you call an hour before and say, yeah, I'm not going to make it. Not that you had an emergency, not that something unexpected truly came up, you're stuck in traffic, highway shut down.
Right.
Yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, not feeling it tonight. I won't be there.
What do you think? All right, Washwell.
I think a Mason's word is his bond. So once your word is given on something, you have to be true to your word. Accepting things like a family emergency, or things of your usual vocation that can't be avoided,
right?
That you have to attend to. Other than that, your word has to be your bond, and it's among the brethren. You have to be known as a man of your word.
Right. Do you think it's a punishable Masonic offense, or are you on the fence on that one?
I don't think it would be a punishable Masonic offense,
Mhm.
but I think the punishment would come through the fact that brothers knowing that you're not a man of your word, and they would be aware of that.
Right.
It might be a good opportunity for whispering good counsel.
I
I
was
think,
gonna say.
first and foremost.
Yes.
I'm going to steal some of Danny Sharkis's thunder because I thought he was going to be up here this evening. But
Go for it.
his father, and you probably know this story about Right Worshipful Brother Dave, the poster that he has in his office or had in his office in his previous job.
No.
So
no.
he's got a really nice representation. It's just been described to me. I haven't actually seen it.
Mhm.
He described it as it's two men shaking hands, and one is wearing a Masonic ring, and it says something like, "Do you remember when a handshake used to constitute a binding contract?"
Mhm.
It says, "To a Mason, it still does."
Right.
And that's the only like real Masonic thing that he had in his office.
Mhm.
But he had that in his place of business to let people know, if I give you my word,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow through.
Right.
I thought that was really cool.
It's a tough thing, and again, you kind of it's hard to draw a line for me anyway between a Mason's word and the oath that he takes to each other. This also goes out in public, because if you take that same Masonic word, like I give you my word, I'm going to do this, and you'd apply it to the civilian life or whatever the case may be, hey, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, and then you don't. It could potentially bring shame on the fraternity. Well, don't mess with Masons because they're dirty dealers. So it's across the board, especially if you're one to wear Masonic hats or rings or everything, or even express that you're a Freemason. And I'm not. We're not. Don't deal with him. He's kind of a dirty dealer. So you got to think about that. That everything you do, everything you say, could potentially either help or harm the craft as a whole. Again, even our car show. If we did our car show yesterday, and we told the school, hey, we're going to come do a car show. We're going to raise all kinds of money for you and do this, that, and the other thing. And what if we just pulled the plug at the last minute? Like, yeah, no, never mind. These kids went and made these big trophies, and they were all prepared for it. And then if we went and yanked the plug on them, it makes us look bad.
Yeah.
And it's another form of breaking your word.
Conduct unbecoming of a Mason.
Right.
Yep.
I wish it's something that would be applied more in life, or being able to trust somebody's word on something. It's kind of a lost art. It
Absolutely.
really is. I believe, I don't know if it's true, but isn't still in the state of Connecticut, a verbal contract is considered a contract, or is that not anymore?
I don't know. I
Any
think to a
lawyers have-
degree,
Uh-huh.
but to what the degree the courts hold a verbal contract
Uh-huh.
as opposed to something written is changes, I think.
Right. Oh, I thought, I don't know where I heard that from.
Just by virtue of the fact that everything kind of has to be ink on paper these days. I mean, I don't remember. You think about like all of the official things that you do, like when you're buying a house, or opening a bank account, or you're doing any kind of transaction, business or anything like that. You have to. There's always a contract. Maybe verbal contracts could be binding, but
No, it's just
pen on paper always is.
Yeah.
So
right. We got all a case of coughs up here today.
yeah, we're
Joe
all
is
messed up.
dying. Ken's dying. Marty's over there coughing. I'm coughing.
Good thing it's going around the room, though. It's not everybody at once.
Right.
It's nothing big. It's just a small case of consumption. That's all.
Yeah, that's all it is.
A little consumption.
Just a touch.
What the hell is consumption?
Tuberculosis.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking consumption.
No. The other consumption.
One of my favorite degrees of, and it falls right into this master's word thing, is actually the Mark Master Mason degree, for those who have taken it.
Mhm.
And for those who know or maybe don't know, at the end of the degree, you're given a Mason's mark, which is it's a little coin that you put your mark inside the middle of the coin. And it's, what is the equivalent of 1 penny or something like that? But it was basically explained to you that if you were to give, like, Ken, I need $500, and I give you this coin, that's like a symbol of my word that I'm going to pay you back. And you hold on to my mark as a ransom until I think it's paying back plus 1 penny or something like that.
It's the
Something.
ultimate IOU.
It's the ultimate IOU, but it's not even the fact of the damn coin, because the coin don't mean anything. It's
the word.
The coin is
it's
the word and the promise behind it.
Yeah.
Is that, and I love that whole concept of like, here, I'm going to give you my mark, and that right there is word that I'm going to pay you back for whatever, or whatever the case may be. And I thoroughly love that degree with it, because it's actually, you could say, you take all the degrees in the planet and, giving each other the word, yeah, hey, Marty, I'm going to do this for you. Hey, I'm going to do this for you. And yeah, it's a word. But to actually have a physicality of that word, that was impressive to me. That was one of my favorite degrees in Freemasonry, just off of that fact. Who's taking that, by the way? Not you.
Not me, nope.
All of us. It's not Joe.
Hey, I'm a member of Morningstar. You're not.
Fair point. I'll concede the point.
That's right.
That's all I had. I'm sorry.
Which, by the way, I got to give you a dues card for. One of the other things that drives me bananas as a secretary is when you send out that dues letter. That very first dues letter. Mm-hmm. Now, dues in itself is a promise that I'm going to be an upstanding member of this lodge. It's held in your charges, I believe. Yes. That you will be, you will remain true to your dues to your lodge and all that stuff. And there's nothing worse than sending out that dues letter and hearing nothing. That drives me crazy.
It drives me even more crazy when you get the phone call. Said, I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Right.
I'll send you something. And then you hear nothing.
Right.
I'd rather hear nothing at all, because then I can think, well, maybe they didn't get it. Maybe they moved and I don't know. But when they call you and acknowledge it and then blow you off afterwards, come on, man.
Then you got to send them the second nasty gram.
I know where you live.
Then the third nasty gram.
Then the third nasty gram.
I'm on my second round of nasty gram.
Now you're on the phone calls.
Come on,
dues,
man.
Just pay them.
Well, it comes down to all due signs and summonses.
Yeah, right.
That's what it comes down to.
Right.
And that's where it is.
So let's break down different things that could be considered a Mason giving his word. So we've already covered the dues one. Mm-hmm. How about RSVPing for dinner?
That's just never going to happen.
Will never happen.
We're talking crazy now.
That is not a Masonic offense.
You'll do like a dinner. Hey, we're doing a degree on such and such a night. Dinner's $20. RSVPs needed. How many RSVPs we got?
3.
I think we have RSVP required as an asterisk on all of our degrees on our trestle board, and we get maybe 2 guys who consistently RSVP.
But how many show up?
Like 30 sometimes. And we're Masons. You would think that the least we could do is say, yeah, we're showing up for dinner. It's very
how much of a pain in the ass that is to sit there and be like, how many guys are showing up? Well, I got 3 RSVPs. Just order food for 30. Just order food for 30.
That's what we do. We go based on averages usually. So for a state of communication, we'll do 25 head count, 25 meals, and then 30 or 35, I think, was the last number we did for degrees.
I mean, it doesn't happen on a regular basis, but the other end of it is yeah, I'm going to show up for dinner. Oh, okay, cool. You RSVP'd. Awesome. And then the food comes out, and they're like, oh, man, I just ate at home.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Nope, it happens.
But
it's even worse. For state of communications, it's one thing. Mm-hmm. Lodges have table lodges where they're really putting out a nice spread, and getting that accurate head count is key, because if you get 10 guys at $20 a head that say they're coming and they end up not coming,
right,
that might be $200 that you just spent. That might be your profit for the night.
That cost your lodge.
Right. So at this point, you're taking from a fundraising event and actually costing them money versus contributing to it. So
I'd love to put this out to the community and say, if any of you guys out there have some kind of system in your lodge or in your jurisdiction that you find works well for RSVPing, you have that problem solved, please by all means let us know.
Right.
Because here in Connecticut, we'd love to know Yeah,
So
secret sauce.
Right Worshipful Mike Adams is actually live right now. I just want to throw this out there that we are not talking about you, Right Worshipful Mike Adams. He said we're not talking about you.
No.
We still love you, Brock.
And we've actually we just rescheduled to have him come up here and roast his AGMs. And when I mean roast, I don't mean make fun of. I mean literally
with electricity.
With electricity, yes.
Like me at that salvage yard that day. I got lit up by 7,000 volts.
Have you told the story about that? About why you have a doctor's note? And
I don't know if I've told it on air.
I don't think you have.
Always
So why don't
just said you have a doctor's.
Yeah, you've always said you have a doctor.
So,
Let's hear about it.
This was about 2 years ago. I was in, where was I? Mendon, Massachusetts at a salvage yard. I work for an insurance company. Occasionally we go to a salvage yard where all of our total loss cars go, and we check to make sure that we're paying people the right amount of money for their total losses, stuff like that. And this salvage yard is surrounded by an electrified fence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's signs all over, don't touch it, don't lean up against it, blah, blah, blah. But it's never active during the day. It's only active at night when the place is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on this particular day, unbeknownst to us, they had somebody out testing the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And the fence was actually on.
Right.
I was trying to look underneath a car and backed up so I could get a better look at the underneath of the car, and hit a live fence, 7,000 volts. Now, this wasn't one of those things where the way the fence works, it's on a trickle charge. So it slowly charges up, and then it holds that charge.
Yeah.
And as soon as something hits it, it dumps that charge all at once.
Senator Zanino, I have a question.
Yes.
What part of your body would you say interacted with the fence that day, that fateful day?
It was my entire back, buttocks, and back of my legs.
Ah, okay.
So I backed into it, and it was like a bunch of, every foot or so, there's another wire. It actually.
So you shocked your ass.
I shocked my entire body.
No further questions.
For the record, I never went down. I stayed on my feet the whole time. I did black out momentarily.
Wow.
It melted a hole. I had like a tech material shirt on. It melted a hole in the back of my shirt.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. It's funny as hell.
I'm here. That's how I got magic powers.
What did you say? What words came out of your mouth?
So one thing about it, and anybody who's ever had this happen to them, it doesn't feel like sticking your finger in a socket. It doesn't feel like our shock collar.
Mm-hmm.
When that amount of voltage goes through you, it feels like somebody came up with you with a baseball bat and just hit you in the back as hard as they freaking could. So the funny thing is, I'll tell you exactly what I said, but before I tell you that, standing next to me at the time.
Was it like you were like mid-conversation and you were just like, yeah, so I'm looking like you're just getting nailed?
Yeah, pretty imagine you're sitting there talking to somebody and somebody were to come up to you and just hit you in the back with a baseball bat as hard as they could. I'm standing next to my boss's boss, so the guy who's in charge of everything in all of New England. So when I come to, like I was like out on my feet, which I didn't know. This is what people were telling me, and they grabbed me before I go back into the fence again. But at that point, the charge had completely dumped into me. And
Joe's like, something bit me.
No, I
jumped up and bit me.
Even worse, I come to, and I'm like, mother effer, what the F? And I am dropping curse words and F-bombs like you read about, and my boss's boss is as close as Ken is to me right now. And then finally he puts his hand on my shoulder. Are you okay? And I'm like, what the fuck? Excuse me, you bleep that out. And I'm going nuts. And he's like, I think we should call an ambulance. I'm like, I'm going for a walk. I'm going for a walk.
No, you should really seek medical attention.
I should have, but I never did.
Did you pee yourself?
No, I kept all bodily fluids in.
Wow, that's impressive.
I didn't even take a knee. I might have staggered a little bit, but I took it like a champ. And
I took an anti-whack from that. I almost peed myself. I hurt like hell.
But at this point, I still didn't know what happened. Mm-hmm. And then I'm thinking in my head, did a tire fly off the back of a tow truck or something and hit me? Because it really felt like a blunt force impact.
Wow.
Like that you couldn't even imagine.
In this, kids, is why we don't pee on electric fences.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would not recommend that. But no, we have a good laugh about it now. And some people at work, like when we put on a presentation and they shut the lights out, they're like, "Oh, Joe's glowing." And that's where, way back in the early days of Discord, I posted something about my superpower shooting lightning out of my arse.
Yes, you did.
Because you can probably do it.
That's where
So
that
now,
might-
do you get afraid during thunderstorms?
No, I'm good. But it could be
Do you
why
sing the? Do you sing the song?
No, I don't. The
The
one
Thunder Buddies.
F you, Thunder. But it could be why we have some electrical issues here with our cameras and stuff. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
causing some.
Can you do the
interference.
under? Can you do the Uncle Fester where you put the bulb in your mouth and
I just don't put it in my mouth.
put the bulb, just the light bulb, just an empty light bulb in your
I
mouth?
can, but I just don't use my mouth.
He puts it somewhere else. That's where he's going with
Oh
that.
my God! All right, I get it.
But yeah, so that really happened a couple years ago. That is why I cannot
Oh,
participate in shock collar trivia.
what were you
I'm
talking
good.
about right before though? Like, what was the words that were coming out of your mouth?
We were talking about whether or not the rocker panel was rusted to the point where we should have taken a deduction for the value of the car, type of thing. So I was like, "Oh, let me take a look and get a."
We gotta get a clip of that.
I'm setting him up for a commercial. We didn't realize it.
I don't care. I don't care.
Joseph Schultz said, "Of course."
I'm not editing. I'm not editing any of the episodes until I
You
set the
could,
commercial.
We could do an attorney, Rafferty and Sons. Have you been shocked by an electrified fence?
No. I'm gonna actually give up the audio clip of what happened at the at the salvage
Oh,
yard.
'cause you're
You're
gonna
doing the blue.
Ah!
mother.
No, but in all seriousness, so you just don't even mess with the shock collar at all. So.
I don't mess with any electricity anymore. I don't even plug in the Christmas light.
Really?
Yeah, I just.
Who do you charge your phone?
I'll plug that in. I need my phone, but I'll wear like rubber gloves.
It's only like 5 volts.
Seriously?
No.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Joseph
I'm just saying,
Schultz.
if I got
Yeah,
attacked by a shark in the ocean, I'm probably not swimming in the ocean again. Just throwing it out there.
Well,
Go ahead.
every time I go to one of these salvage yards, I give it like a 5-minute speech on, hey, just so you know, even though it says it's not active, do not go near the fence. And I'll say, did you hear about that guy that works for us? That got almost got electrocuted and got all charged up on the fence. And they're, oh, yeah, I heard about that. Like, yeah, that was me.
So real quick, Ken, and then you could say what you're going to say. So basically, every time you go into a salvage yard, you're like, what's his name in Jurassic Park when he's throwing the stick between the fences?
Yes.
Just pulled the rug out from under me.
Oh, I
Jesus.
But yeah, no, it really happened.
You know what the funny part about that,
That
whole
kid was
thing
a
is?
ginger too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
Was he?
Yeah.
Yes, he
I'm
was.
pretty sure he had red hair.
He was.
Reddish, whatever. It was like auburn.
The kid, right?
Yeah.
The little kid was?
Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy.
Little Timmy.
Was
Yeah.
it Timmy?
Are you talking
Yeah,
in
Timmy.
Lights and
Jurassic
alarms
World
are
or
going off,
Jurassic
and the
Park?
ginger.
The first one.
You know what the crazy
I
thing
don't
is?
think he had red hair.
What? Somebody
I
has to
got
Google
you.
it.
I
All
got
right.
you.
Discord. Put it on our page.
So basically, and if you notice, that kid when he got hit by 100,000 volts did not die. Do you know why?
Because he has no soul.
Boom! Gingers don't have souls.
Gingers can't go to heaven.
They can't go to heaven or hell. They just.
Totally not getting my vote for president. Totally not.
Let's see here. Heath Moss says, "It hurts like heck, but I'd rather be tased than sprayed with OC any day." What's that? OC.
Only resin capsicum.
What the hell
Pepper
is-
spray.
Oh, yeah, no. We got CS gas, it was called. It sucked.
We got
You don't
we
want
got
none of
CS in the Air Force as well. But,
Sucked.
Yeah. But no, actually, OC is worse.
Really? Then CS?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's bad.
So,
I prefer to not have any of them.
so I'll tell a funny story about when I was in the Marine Corps. We had to do the gas chamber. All right. You guys will like this one. I know we got off Masonic word, but you know what? This happens. And you know what?
Yeah.
Funny yourself. So I'm in the gas chamber, and when you walk into the gas chamber, you're going into a platoon, and you have to line the walls. And I was in the Air Force Junior ROTC when I was in high school. So they used to call me Zoomy. Flying planes, zoom, 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 you know. So this one particular drill instructor, he had my number because I came into boot camp and I already knew how to march. I know how to, column left. I knew how to column right. So needless to say, I was an easy target. We get into the the gas chamber, and they close the door behind you. And they're burning this CS, and basically it's just hanging there, and they burn it, and it just disperses. You can't see your hand in front of your face. It's like walking into a smoke-filled room. So your mask, you have your mask on your face, and the first thing you do with it is you just break the seal of it, and then you put your fingers in the mask, to break the seal, and then once you're done with that, you pull your hand out, pull the straps tight, and you put your hand on the front of the thing, and you blow out with all the air you have in your lungs. So you hold your breath, obviously, before you break the seal, and you blow all the air, and it farts the mask, and it blows all the CS gas out, and then you can start breathing again. Second time you take it, you put it on top of your head, right? And then you put it back on, same thing, pull the straps out, fart the mask, you're good to go. Third time, you hold it out in front of you. Well, as I'm standing there holding it out in front of me, and you can kind of just slightly open your eyes up, the drill instructor looked at me, smile on his face, smacked the mask out of my hand, and cup checked me all at the same time. I'm dying, right? Can't breathe. I just snot and eyes and brain matter and everything just pouring out of me. And he's holding my chest against the wall because they don't let you come out into the middle of the room. Obviously, you knock the table over and get further blowtorch.
Right.
So he's pinning me against the wall, and I'm just like losing it, right? So finally, I put the mask on outside, and let me tell you, that was horrific. But I'll tell you what, after all the CS cleared out of my lungs and my eyes and every orifice of my body, I never breathed better in my entire life because there was no mucus anywhere left in my entire body. It was pretty bad. But anyway, that was my funny story about it. But I've gotten only electrocuted by house electricity.
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
I've never got hit by actual crazy amounts of electricity.
I thought 120 volts was pretty bad.
That thing hurts like a bitch.
Yeah. And what's that go up to? Is that 120?
I don't know. I think it's probably about 120.
So 7,000.
Yeah,
7,000.
no.
And I know Dan's going to chime in and say it's the amps that'll kill you, not the voltage. I don't care. It's 7,000 volts. It hurts.
It still hurts.
It hurts.
Because
Dan is watching.
All right, this is turned into
he looks...
It's turned into a goof show. Sorry, Marty. I know we were talking about some...
He looks pretty gingerish to me.
For those who are watching live.
We found a picture of Timmy from Jurassic Park.
I think the tint is off on this computer here.
No, it's a really nice screen.
Strawberry blonde.
I don't know. We'll bring it to the jury over there. Marty.
Let our district deputy.
Ginger? The district deputy. He's the ruling authority here. Ginger or not Ginger?
Yeah, Ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I tried.
Gingers can't die. They're daywalkers.
Did you really drop a strawberry?
Strawberry blonde.
But I think it's funny in that movie. Now,
how did we get here?
I don't know how we get here. This is how it happens. It just spirals. We'll have a topic and then poof, it just disappears.
We're from taking a Mason at their word to getting electrified on a fence.
So what I'll probably do is I'm probably just going to take that little section where we didn't go sideways and attach it to the other episode. And this one's...
We'll go back to being serious.
Yeah, we'll go back to me.
You're just going to take out that one.
I'm going to take out that one and isolate it and put it with the other one. And this one's just going to be our screw off with the rest of it. But now maybe you guys can help me out here. I don't believe wood is not a conductor of electricity.
Correct.
So if you threw a piece of wood like he did in that movie at 2 wires of electricity, nothing would happen.
Wouldn't have really done anything.
Wouldn't have done anything.
Probably not.
So yeah, there was not too much ingenious put into that.
I mean, the guy was an archaeologist. He wasn't like an electrical engineer.
Yeah, and he let the kid get fried.
Whatever.
You know, I gotta respect him.
He wasn't really good with kids either. He legitimately
He's
said
like,
he hated
let the ginger get fried.
I'm not going on Discord for a week.
Until they turned it on.
Right. They had it off, and then the power was turned back on. I'm gonna get lit up on Discord, aren't I? I can see all these little Timmy memes now. Oh God, they're probably already there.
You're welcome. But anyway,
so Mason's word.
Reel it all back in. Mason's word. I guess for me, the biggest thing is if you say you're going to do something, my 2 particulars are events and degrees inside the fraternity. Events and degrees are the 2 big ones. Dinners, whatever. It is what it is. But some lodges are much smaller than other larger lodges, and there's not a very big pool of Masons to actually do these parts, on the smaller lodges. So everybody has a set part. And when you say you're going to do something, and then in the final moment you pull the plug, it wrecks the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, more so than it hurts the lodge, it hurts the candidate who's going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's ruined, and again, you really don't remember your EA or your entered apprentice, or your entered apprentice, your fellow crafter, your master mason as you're going, later down the road. But it makes an impression on that night. So if it's messed up that night, you might be hindered. That person might be like, "Yeah, that was a shit show. I ain't going back to that."
Or maybe the candidate doesn't even notice what happens, but it still puts the leadership in the lodge.
I don't know if a candidate would notice if something was messed up.
Right.
It would be because you're going in blind.
Right.
So you really don't know what's right, what's wrong. And, but then again, for things like the lecture, if, someone's giving the first section lecture and they're stumbling through it, you notice.
Yeah.
Even as a candidate, you notice.
Mm-hmm. And that's why one of the things I've always told people is keep your bearing. Keep your military bearing.
Mm-hmm.
Marty, you know about that.
Yes.
Military bearing. Don't break stride. Don't make mistakes. Don't go, don't be eccentric about it. You mess up, you miss a word, roll through it.
Yep.
Don't stop, because they're not going to know the difference in either way. In pertaining to, and again, I'm not a big, I think it's much more impressive when somebody actually recites the ritual and knows the ritual. Less impressive when they read it. So that's why I'm talking about when the Mason gives his word that he's going to be there at the degree and then doesn't, somebody has to read it.
Yeah, usually.
And then, he's sitting there like, well, why is this guy reading it? Everybody else is doing it. Just, to me, it's impression points, and that's a big one. That's all I got. Anybody, you guys got anything else for the Mason's word? I'm trying to think of other instances where it would.
Not really. I mean, the biggest one to me is recently being a sitting master. I mean, it's really tough when you have to scramble at the last minute to find either somebody to pro tem. Depending on what the position is, sometimes it's easier than other. Like, we're blessed with having a lot of past masters that show up to degrees, knowing that we're probably going to call on them to sit as Tyler or sit with the candidates in the back room. And that's one thing. I mean, it's really nice to have that. Smaller lodges, less active lodges may not have that same safety net.
Right.
But to do a lecture or something like that, to say that you're going to be there and do the lecture and not show up, or to let the master know at the last possible instant and not have somebody ready in the wings to take over for you. I mean, it puts a huge amount of pressure on the people that are running that degree.
This also applies to those who are going to take an officer position. That's a big one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to be the junior steward. Or, yeah, I want to be the junior warden. Yeah, I want to do this. And then you're a no-show for at least half the meetings. That's tough, especially the higher the chairs you get. Because, the stewards, whatever. There's not really much work for you in a regular stated meeting. But once you're starting into deacons and wardens and secretaries and treasurers and, there's some throwaway chairs that are just whatever. Marshal, historian, it's more of just a warm body. Some lodges use historians more so than anything. But stewards are kind of a throwaway. You should be there, but if you're not.
I mean, you've got to run refreshment.
Right.
No,
if one steward is missing, it does impact.
Well, I'm giving an example of a basic meeting.
So for
no degree, just a regular stated. We're going to show up. We're just going to run through what we got to run through and get the hell out of there. No, there's no refreshment. Because our lodge, if there's nothing going on, we don't do refreshments. We'll do donuts or something afterward. Whatever. Anybody can pick up donuts, but it's the big ones that are
Well, my feeling is if you're going to be absent a meeting, it should be incumbent on that officer to find your replacement.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Couldn't agree
if you're
more.
not going to be there, hey, guess what? You get to find your replacement. Don't throw it on the master at the last second.
That's a good point.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That used to happen with me. You there? Oh, I don't know it. Sit. Figure it out. Grab a book.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You have 3 lines. Read it.
Yeah.
Corey Lady, unless it's in English, you can't read it, and we better not have an open cipher in a tiled lodge. That is in my district, is what he says. Cipher. We don't really have a cipher.
No,
He's talking about the cipher, like the ciphered thing, I guess, in wherever he is in his grand jurisdiction. The whole thing is ciphered.
Well, actually, Connecticut used to be like that up until 95 or thereabouts, I believe.
I think so.
Because Right Worship Brother Dave Sharkus showed me the actual old cipher book that he learned from, and everything was coded. Everything except for working tools, I think.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that book. Yeah, and working tools are whatever. They're nothing. It's fruit flies. They're all over the place. We got to get apple cider vinegar. But
yeah, they only seem to come out when we are physically in this room.
Yeah, no.
Like when I first show up and we're like opening stuff up, they're not. We can't find them anywhere now.
All the time.
We're sitting in the room.
Your son attracted him. I think he's got bugs.
Or they're like living in that old crappy laptop of yours. I don't know. I don't know. Or like in the soundboard. I've got nothing.
All right, brothers. What do you say? California he's from. So in California it's ciphered. So all right, brothers. What do you say we wrap this up? We had enough fun for one night. What do you think?
Sure.
All right. For the Freemasons podcast, this is Right Worshipful George Mudry signing off.
Worshipful Brother Joe signing off.
Worshipful Brother Ken signing off.
Right Worshipful Brother Marty McCary signing off.
Timmy! Oh, I was trying to actually get you to say
Say what?
To actually say the words that you said right before you got whacked, because I'm going to actually pull that clip out, and then I'm going to put all my little sound bites out.
Well, if you want, we can do a full-on recreation once we sign off.
Oh, I got a couple ideas.
We can do a
I have a
full-on
couple
recreation.
ideas.
Yeah, we could.
I'm game. I mean,
No. I have a better one. I was actually thinking just taking that video clip from like Jurassic Park and just putting Joe's face on Timmy.
Couldn't we do something a little more cooler, like Vader when he's getting shocked by the Emperor at the end, and you see the electricity going?
Nah, you're Timmy from Jurassic
I gotta be
Park,
freaking Timmy. I can't be Vader. I gotta be goddamn Timmy
with the music in the background. Dun, 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 dun.
I quit. I'm out. I quit.
I had to do it with the lollipop.
I quit.
Son of a bitch.
This was the nail in the coffin, really.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.